Just thinking yesterday, we had a module on the bench under there and we shot it like the Blair Witch Project, where we came through the trees hunting modules. That's where the laughing was from. Yeah, so we sat with Moritz from Endorphins, just chatting outside Superbooth. Nice to get out towards the end of the event and just talk about synths and get to know the man behind Endorphins. So I guess we should start with your background, either musically or in terms of electronics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, my background is, I have a pretty musical family. My father still plays the cello. They were very much into educating me in classical instruments like piano, bass, guitar, flute, whatever, you name it. And I had pretty much fun with that, but through puberty, I totally lost the connection to making music. So it came back to me when I was in the 20s, and as I was a techno kid in the 90s in Frankfurt, going out for Schranz techno music, I felt I need to do something with electronics, and I had a graphic education at a university, and there was one guy giving lectures about sound design for Flash, which is totally obsolete now, I guess. So I just skipped him because I thought, okay, I can do something with sound, and this guy taught me how to use Cubase, and from there on it just went crazy. I did some productions just for myself for something like 10 years. I educated me mostly by myself. And then some friends of mine were saying, you're only twiddling knobs in VST plugins and you don't have any clue about signal flow. You should learn that, because you can do something great, but you have to learn how to do it properly. So I decided to get some analog gear to learn it. And a friend of mine, Mario from Ströme, he's been collecting synths for years, and he gave me an old MS-10. And he said, here, try that. That is very simple. It's working. And it didn't work. So I need to fix it. And while the fixing process, I stumbled upon the DivKid website, which is a knowledge base, or has been a knowledge base 6 years ago already, with lots of informations for people like me starting with something completely different. So I read the whole website in 1 or 2 months. And at Christmas time, I bought my first modular. It was a DivKid 6U, pretty simple setup, 2 oscillators and some stuff. And yeah, well, then I was looking up Muffwiggler forum and tried to find out if there is some convention or meetup being in Vienna, where I'm living. And at that point I met Andreas, who's our developer at the Endorphines, and the man who had the initial idea to make this company. And he was up to build a semi-modular synth, and we were talking about ideas, and I asked him, what do you have already? And he said, the oscillator core. I said, well, that's not so much, but maybe let's do a Eurorack module first, because I already was in Eurorack, and I thought maybe I can have his module if he's finished. So he started writing emails to the few guys we were at that time, like the small gang of 5, and I was sitting in front of the computer most of the time. So he was writing emails, I was responding back and forth, and the development went on. And a few months later, we had the first prototype of the further generator. And from that moment on, as I was at Munich buying my modular, I approached the guys in Munich and asking them for the contact for Andreas Schneider, if he's willing to maybe show our module or even buy it. And he was fairly interested at that time, and he took us with him to Musikmesse, and from that everything went crazy. So we started producing on a regular basis, and still had the idea of building a complete system. So, and from that point on, everything went step by step. So with the strong West Coast approach we had already with the further generator, we then developed the terminal, which we did twice, I guess. The first prototype we pulled back because of it was still very quirky and not so good. Then we released the terminal, and then the Vectral thing came. So the good Vectrols are not so available anymore, and we decided, oh come on, let's do something completely new and redesign it and make everything digital and do the grand terminal. And there was ideas about developing a touch interface, which didn't work out because we wanted to have a very small case, and lots of good touch interfaces already existed. So we came to the point we need something that translates MIDI into CV, and then we built the shuttle control. And yeah, it moved along, and the redesigning of the grand terminal took a while, and the shuttle, the complete system, should have been finished earlier, but we thought, okay, why not doing it properly and putting as much as effort as possible into the development. And a few years later we were in Japan and we had the system almost finished, but it was 6 HP left, and we should perform live, but we couldn't. Because we could not in the proper way stereo, because we had no mixer. So we developed the cockpit, and we already presented the first prototype 2 years ago. Still, it took us a while because there's tons of functionalities inside, and now the system is finished, and for us it's a big milestone. 5 years, one complete system, something about 6 modules on the market. Of course, other manufacturers develop more than we do, but yeah, it takes its time.
But you've just completely done all my job of sitting and talking to you.
Sorry,
no, in a great way. Every question I had, you led on perfectly. But only 6 modules, but a lot of power. Dual complex oscillator with a different cores, thru-zero FM, the modulation in the terminal, low pass gate style functionality as well. And then, as you said, the shuttle control, integrating MIDI, iPad, USB, and the mixing on the cockpit with mutes, stereo, mono. So a powerful system in itself, small, sort of compact system. I guess, where do you go next?
Well,
so I've got the voice now.
I'm wondering. Now you see, when we started, the motto was Endorphines will make you happy. It's still the claim, but we altered it a little bit and said life is a trip. So, because it was for all of us a huge experience reaching the moment of having something finished for us, like the complete system we wanted to make initially. So right now we have up our sleeves the expander for the cockpit, which is yet not the most mind-blowing thing we ever did, but it comes in handy as you can switch in between stereo mono. And you can use the send and return functionality from the cockpit mixer not only for iOS devices via the TRRS jacks or cables. You have 1/4-inch jacks with it, so you can integrate 19-inch rack gear or pedals or whatever you wish. And then a few years ago we had the idea of doing something with triangles and adding several harmonics to that. So there is a prototype we already showed, but the redevelopment of the terminal came in the way, so we needed to do that first. And I think over the year there will be tons of time. I guess the expander will be around autumn, ready around about autumn. And we will use the summer and the time in between to collect ideas and get inspired to find a new aim to go for. Because if you have such a big plan, like make one system, then at a certain point you're reaching the goal, and then you have to reconfigure yourself and rethink your mindset. And at the moment, I think, I'm not sure if that would have been the next question, I'm just answering it. It's everything that old heritage brands did already, most of the manufacturers redid it in their own kind of style. Yeah. So right now, I think software is on the verge, and the digital solutions are a very good, how to say, everything sounds already very good. Yeah. So for me, I think maybe integrating modern technologies into the modular context, like a few brands are doing it already, this is, I guess, a big fat path into the future for me personally. Yes. What we are doing with it, I cannot say right now because I simply don't know.
Yeah, no, well, completely fair enough. If I can put in a selfish request, sure. You mentioned mixing triangle waves. So the sort of initial thought was some sort of additive oscillator bank, but
Something like that.
not sine wave partials in an additive nature to have more control over the waves. If I can ask you to make that module, if I can ask you to make that module.
Yeah. We had a when we were in Barcelona, hanging out with the guys from Befaco at the Befaco Synthfest at the hangar. Patrick was visiting us at the office, and this prototype was standing around there. So he just took it and started asking questions and suggesting improvements. So yeah, I think it's I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but we definitely consider that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, great. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. It's nice to actually hear about your ideas and background aside from the show noise. Great. Thank you very much.
thank you.